Rolling. What's going on, guys? We are back with another video today. It's spring, we're walleye fishing, life is good, the sun is up, still very cold out, as you can tell by the way I'm dressed, getting incredibly tired and sick of fishing in crazy cold. Not only am I getting sick of being cold, but the fish are getting sick of being cold. Bite has been very slow overall. I mean, we're catching fish, but it's nothing like boom, 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 the crazy video we would love to film today. But we've talked about fishing a lot of sand so far. We've talked about fishing a lot of rock so far, which are all key players early in the year. And today we're gonna be fishing weeds. We're on a different lake, very clear body of water, and it has a lot of sand. If you guys fish a lake that just is very sandy, right? Not a lot of rock, not a lot of wood. A lot of times these fish gravitate just to a lot of this new weed growth and old weed growth. And basically kind of the main couple things we're fishing is new cabbage coming up and new milfoil coming up. Actually, a lot of the milfoil is old milfoil, but it's some of the healthiest and thickest stuff that provides the best cover that's left around from last year. So this video, we're gonna talk a lot about how to read side imaging, how fish set up around weeds, and then how we're fishing in weeds. So we got Mitch behind the camera. We're gonna take off and hopefully they bite a little bit today. We'll see. But yeah, today's all about unweeding walleye. Stay tuned. Let's catch some fish, see what happens. Oh, what you got there, son? Looks like a nice walleye.
Got a fish, Tom.
I'm gonna get the net. I guess a nice walleye, eh? Oh yeah, look at that. Just a beaut. Beaut to get things rolling here. Oh, there we go.
Fish.
Take it. Popped in the old jig and minnow.
Popping the jig and minnow, and the fish popped.
Did he pop it?
Sure did.
I'm surprised there's any fish with a positive enough attitude to even pop a jig anymore.
I know. We're out here in the frozen tundra, literally.
Frozen tundra of northern Wisconsin.
Moving slow, popping jigs.
Every day is somewhere between 24 and 45 degrees.
Nice fish. Yep. Today is no different. 50 degrees for the high.
Take it. See you later, dude. We are catching them now. We've only been out here for a little bit. We're actually seeing just a ton of fish. We're not getting a lot of bites yet, but that is just how it has been the past week or so. Lots of fish around and a few bites. That one actually smoked it pretty good. Just fishing that little 1/8 ounce Google Eye Kalen's jig. Little fat head on there. There we go. If you're eating them, that'd be your cookie cutter 15, 16 incher. The ones that everybody comes to northern Wisconsin to catch. We'll let them go. See you later, dude. All right, so what are we looking for on the side imaging? Obviously, number one, we're looking for good weeds. And a lot of times in this style of lake, these sandy, clear lakes, fish will set up just on the outside edge of this stuff. So what we're doing is we're cruising around in a lot of this shallower stuff and we're looking for, you know, weeds. And then, you know, obviously if we see a good area that looks really good for weeds, we might kind of slow down and we're starting to look for fish. Now, here's a side imaging shot right here, which is exactly what we're looking for. You know, you can see this big, thick clump of milfoil. And like I said in the intro, a lot of times milfoil is the weed that stays tall the longest and provides the thickest cover for those fish early in the season. You know, it's still May, there's almost no new weed growth up here. So what we're looking for is a lot of stuff that looks just like this. This fish will be set up just outside of this milfoil. And most of the time we'll spot lock and we'll just keep making repetitive casts. And a lot of times as you're kind of fishing a spot like this, what you'll notice is you'll keep making the same cast over and over and you're just in thick weeds. And normally what you want to do is just kind of keep coming over until you realize that line that you're just outside of the weeds at. And a lot of times it's easy, like if you spot lock and you keep casting, you know, kind of pick out a marker on shore that's at that perfect casting angle. You know, ideally most of the time you'll get bit right away, you know, and that'll kind of tell you, all right, we got to keep making the same cast over and over. This isn't fish that are just kind of like all over the place in 8 feet, 10 feet of water. These are fish that are in very small little areas, like this screenshot right here. You know, you can see there's all these fish packed into this very small area right next to this clump of weeds. And that's exactly what we're driving around looking for and how we're catching them today. Your lake might have vastly more weeds. It might be just a ton of weeds. And in that case, a lot of these fish will sit in pockets of weeds or in the dead zone where it's just a sand area in between all these weeds. So really looking at your side imaging, getting good at what you're looking at. You know, it's pretty easy to see something that looks like weeds. And really, if there is a pretty sandy bottom, it's pretty easy to see basically those fish right next to that clump of weeds.
All right, next cast, and I got another one. This one could be a little nicer.
It's a walleye. I think it is a nice
Walleye.
Walter there.
Real nice one. Want to grab a net?
I'll scoop him for you. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what we're after there.
Exactly.
Up in the weeds. Oh, that's a little better quality.
Nice fish, yes. All right, look at that. Just a solid fish. All we're doing today is the same thing we have been doing in this cold weather. Just combing through some nice little weed patches off these sand flats and getting it done, but it is slow fishing.
Send them back.
All right, putting them back like usual.
Very important to let these over 20 fish go. Kind of no matter where you are fishing, those are definitely our breeding fish and the most fun ones to catch. So definitely always be, you know, a lot of our lakes up here in northern Wisconsin have slots that are, you know, that 15 to 20 inches your keeper, which is a great keeper slot. Anytime you're catching those big females, kind of no matter what the regulations are, it's always best to put those fish back. So I'm gonna keep after it. Fish on.
That's hooked up on a nice walleye. Grab a net.
It's a little ear there. I actually caught that. Not as happy about that as
Same.
and then with Mitch's fish.
But tell you what, it is just a frickin' grind right now with these super cold temperatures. It looks nice out today, but
Don't be fooled.
it's not. Water temps are 47, 48 degrees still. Look at that thing swimming around on your line.
Yeah.
So what we're after, hopefully get some more today.
I'm gonna go ahead and unhook my pike now. Lame. All right, guys, so there's a lot of different baits you can fish in weeds. You know, most of the time we're fishing jigging plastics or jigging a minnow. The bite is still so negative. We got such cold water temps that we're going with mostly the 1/8 ounce Kalen's Google Eye jig and a fathead or a sucker minnow or a shiner. But we're going live bait because the bite is very finicky. And basically all we're doing, since we're real pinpointing, you know, basically what we're not doing is we're not just taking this and throwing it at will every direction as far as we can go. Most of the time we've kind of got that little spot picked out where we want to be fishing. So we're just making real close flips, right? There's not fish spread out everywhere over this big flat. There's these little pockets of fish right next to these weed edges. So we're making short pitches. And especially today, since we're fishing through a lot of fish because these fish are so negative, we want that bait to stay in the zone as long as we can. So we're just taking it and we're just doing real short hops, you know, just taking our time, working it very slowly through that zone, right? We want that bait to be in fish for as long as we possibly can on each cast. And that's super important. The other thing that's very important is having a rod where you can feel absolutely everything, whether that's a weed or a fish or whatever it is. And definitely one of my favorite jig and minnow rods I've fished this year is the Elliott Rods 7.3 medium light fast. This rod's got a lot of tip play. It's very light. You can feel absolutely everything down the rod. and I got the Pissy Fun Carbon X 2000 on there. Great spinning reel. You guys can check all this stuff out, and I'll throw links down in the description. 10-pound braid, and then we're running a long 8-pound fluorocarbon leader because, like I said, we're fishing very clear water, and that's kind of the deal. And you definitely need a rod that has some tip play, but has plenty of backbone to set the hook on. That's looking like a good one.
Yeah, I think so. I actually thumped it. We're just back right now, combing through the sand.
Big bass, I think.
No, is it? Might be probably right. It is too, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
That's a freaking football, dude.
Yeah, dude. Wow.
I'll net that one. That's a big brown bass. Look at that, Sterling. You never know, might be up here in the weeds. Dude, that is a toad of a football. We'll give you guys a look.
All right, we're definitely not bass fishing, but look at this thing, huge. We've caught a bunch of other ones that we let go. This one decided to make the cut because it's just a football and a half.
About 21, guaranteed.
Yeah, that's a big fish.
Big brownie for northern Wisconsin.
Well, that's what happens when the smallies and walleyes are together in the shallow water. You're gonna catch both.
All right, guys, well, that is gonna wrap up today's video, fishing walleyes in the weeds. We're actually gonna be doing nothing but fishing more weeds for more walleyes here in the next month or so. Weeds will become much, there'll be a lot more weeds, and a lot more of that life will start gravitating towards the weeds as the season kind of progresses here. But hopefully this is a good kind of tutorial, kind of what we're looking for on side imaging, how we're fishing them. Mitch definitely caught the most fish today.
Sure did, but it was still slow, not fun.
Yeah, it's a grinder. You know, we got some warmer temps coming later on this week. We're definitely looking forward to that because that should get the bite going a lot better. We can get back to catching just way more walleyes than what we are catching per day right now. But if you guys are out fishing in the cold right now, go with live bait, go fish slow. Make sure you're in those fish all the time, and you guys should be successful. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you got any video ideas you want to see, drop some comments down below. And yeah, I'm not sure what we're doing next, but stay tuned. If you're not yet, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.